from the last line on Kuf Nun Hey, but you're still in the middle there. The reason that we are moving and moving back all the time, and we can't get away from this spot, is that the spot, the thing that we're talking about, the shoyresh hanefesh, the root, and the iskashus atzmis, is really something which is not definable.
What is something which is not definable?
The iskashus atzmis hanefesh. The difficulty in this defining this is that on the one hand, there are two things. There's the nefesh, and there's atmos in himself. And the nefesh, had been discussed yesterday, the principle of shoyresh is mushlesh in atmos in himself. And we discussed yesterday that the meaning from shoyresh is that the root goes along with that which emanates from it. So they're two separate things, so to speak, and yet it's one and the same thing. To put it in very simple terms, we say that in every person is a neshama, a nefesh. This neshama is distinct from every other neshama. Two people have two neshamas. As a result, they have different natures, different strengths and weaknesses. Why are we saying that it is the neshama that functions in the person? It is also absolutely correct to say that it's Hashem that functions in the person. The highest in the person is an elokus. Elokus is the only source of chayus. And this is what functions in the person. And in learning Hasidus, particularly learning this Hasidus that we're learning, it is incumbent that we should understand this principle that one and the same thing It's identifiable as two things, two different levels. So the mashal that we have for this is the phenomenon of breathing, of air. The phenomenon of air. Air is that which sustains everything in a human being, particularly in life. As I said many times, that life, there are two distinct aspects in living. There's the oxygen that you inhale that keeps the blood fresh and healthy. And there's the experience of breathing itself, of life itself, that you're alive. The experience of life itself is the actual experience and effect of being in a mass of air. Not the air that you inhale, that you take internally, but to be in a mass of air. We've all experienced this phenomenon.
To be in the mass of air is the first thing. It's relates to the first level of oxygen.
No.
It's the second.
Yeah.
Okay. Here.
It's something which eludes us. We've all experienced a situation where you were in a stuffy room. The air wasn't fresh. And then we venture out into fresh air. We venture out into fresh air. Our reaction is not merely, oh, I can breathe fresh air. Our reaction is, we spread our hands across and say, fresh air. It's fresh air. It's not talking about the air that you're inhaling. It's talking about the air that you are embraced by. The environment of it, rather than the experience of it, and what you take in. This environment of fresh air has a very profound effect on the person. In that, it raises the person from merely a physical experience, physical life, to the experience of living, of life per se. Not maintenance of the goof, but the experience of life, an neshama experience. This neshama experience, this is Hakashim is like a motion, Hakashim to demonstration. And the reason we are able to find a Gashmizik demonstration for something which is extremely ruchnistic, much superior to the Gashmizik is that in fact the REBBE provides all inyonim that are there l'maylo that you should also recognize something about. They're a much lower level, but nonetheless, they're appropriate demonstration and surely for dealing the way it is in mind. This is the principle of emotion. Emotion, typically, you're talking about something worldly and you're alluding to something godly. Worldly and godly are not in the same realm. But there's a godly element in the world. And this is what we speak about all the time. It's a phenomenal thing that the air that we breathe even though to us it appears that we draw the air into our nostrils with our effort. But in fact, the air that we breathe is forcing itself into us. What's the difference? The difference is phenomenal. The godly element in the world is that which creates us, creates the world, initiates the creation of the world. It is not elicited by the world. It is told the world, I want to make you. I'm giving you a presence. It is something which is a gift, milmaila. This principle of gift, milmaila, represents a principle superior to the world. It's a divine principle. This principle, this in that the world is a creation, a divine creation, even though it's a world, and it becomes a function of the world, there's a divine element remaining there. And divine means, I want it, I want to give it to you, just of course I want it. Not because I have mercy and pity of you for your suffering. Because I want you to experience my presence. I want to give the world a divine element rather than a worldly element, exclusively. At the same time, it has to be a worldly element because it has to be functioning on the worldly level. Thus, this is what our challenge is, and this is exactly what the point that we're stuck in. It's important to understand and to recognize. And perhaps those who are capable to reflect on it. That in fact, we're living in a physical world, and world itself is not really a world. Not really worldly. World is a divine phenomenon. And as I point out, the fact that the world forces itself into you to keep you alive, that's not worldly. That's not a worldly principle. Worldly principle, if you're on a job, you go and knock on the door and beg for the job. Because this entire creation, and then of course, more specifically and more poignantly expressed is in the Neshama. It is mushosh in atzmus. Its root is atzmus alakus. It is the truth of truths. The fact that there is life in the world, it's not created. It's not a worldly creation. It's representative of the divine life. Having come to this, I want to take you back a bit. Hence, we can begin to understand what it says. The first day of creation, before there were luminaries, for anything. There was darkness, which is what world is. And God said, let there be light. What do you mean, let there be light? Where's the light coming from? And the answer is, there's a divine element in the world. Let there be light means that the divine element in the world should surface. Let there be a cognizance that this is a divinely created world. Just means let it be light. It's not really a light on a moral scale, which is why you have to be concealed. You have to be then supported by luminaries, a physical luminary. Makes sense. But what means let there be light? Let there be light means the divine element of light should surface, should be recognized. In godliness, there's no such thing as dark. Let the divine element in the world surface. Let there be light. And there was light. That's what the Pasuk says.
Meaning that the light was always there?
The light was always there.
Is it too much to ask? So why wasn't it light to begin with? Why did it have to surface out of the darkness?
Because the world, by definition, is dark. When you bring light into it, you are bringing a godly element into the world.
But you just said you're not really bringing it in. It was there already.
No, you're bringing it into the world. You're revealing it in the world. You're changing the phenomenon, the world phenomenon. This is the principle that we're learning now, even though it's kind of lost in the words. There is an etzem. We tried yesterday and we tried many, many times in the past to explain the principle of an etzem. Etzem means that which is divinely created. It's created the way God wants it, not the way the world allows it to be. It is not something that you can trace it back in worldly terms. How did this come to be? What are the ingredients? What are the materials from which it was built? Let there be light. Now there is light. How do you create it? What are the materials? What are the means of which the light was created? This is touch etzem. Having come to this, I'm sorry we're staying in one place, but hopefully we'll get through to recognize, to realize, to lift ourselves up completely to a different level of thought. With this, recognizing this principle, we turn around and all of a sudden we actually see a different world. When you say that world came evolutionarily, you said it's stupid. Are you blind? There's an essence in world. There's a divine element. The world is not an evolutionary thing. The world does not consist of many parts. There's a principle of what world represents. And then he comes into the worldly structure so that he can benefit from and function on the worldly level. But as you function on the worldly level, you recognize that really that is not what makes it possible. As I always point out, all of us walk quite freely, smoothly along the roadway. children are flowing through it. Anyone who has to pay attention, when he puts his foot down, he's saying that something is missing, something has a weakness in his feet. He's not walking natural. What is a natural walk? A natural walk is a walk that does not identify your walk as being separate from the world of reality. You're walking there because the world allows you to walk, period. Not because you have to create the phenomenon of walking. What is the principle that this emits or reveals? That in fact, you, the world, and as part of the world, were created to be one thing and to be functioning in the world in a natural way. You're not breaking the world rules because you were here and now you were moving here, so you were breaking, so to speak, the structure of the world. No, this is part of the structure. This is part of the reality of the world.
The example, the mashal with walking is very clear. The example of thinking or having self-consciousness is much more, is harder to think about, because clearly if everything was all unified, you wouldn't really have too much thought of self at all.
So this we discussed the other day. It's actually right there in the Maimon. That which distinguishes between the thinker and the thought is not that they are two separate things, but that the thought is on an infinitely superior level than the thinker.
Right, but the fact that there's a thinker,
This is
individuals is very strange.
no, but thinker. Oh, the thinker is a thinker, but the thinker never says, "This is there because I think it."
That's fine, but the fact of unique identity is very, very strange. It's fine that we're walking and we're breathing. That's all the unity. That's the union. But the fact of individuation, an individual, that's a very, very strange phenomenon.
The strange phenomenon is that this supreme element of unity that you're talking about has been translated on the world level.
Again, one more time, the union is translated. What happened?
Those superior qualities, life itself is translated on the low level, on the world level.
Right, we use the example of breathing.
Breathing, and we say you live because you take oxygen inside and it becomes part of your bloodstream. That's not correct. But it goes down all the way down to the physical level. If they're lacking oxygen in the blood, you can't live, even though this is not the definition of life. This is the great divine miracle of creation. That he brought down the highest of the highest to the lowest, all the way to the physical.
Was the point there that the lowest to the physical corresponds to individual names and identities?
That's right. It's more than that. It actually recognizes, it can relate and understand godliness. How can the physical understand godliness? It can't. All these mashalim, like we said, the world itself, the physical world, already tells you, hey, there's something more to it than to the physicality of it. It tells you to the extent that your little brain can draw this out and recognize it. Hey, this is not a simple phenomenon. This has not happened evolutionarily. This is crazy.
Rabbi Paltiel?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. I wish I could
Going
see
back-
you, my dear friend.
I'm trying to speak without shouting, but I could shout if necessary.
No, shout. You don't have to shout. Like I say, I want to see you,
Oh, well.
not hear you. I
all
hear
right.
you perfectly well.
That's a much higher Madrigal,
Guys, did you hear
so-
that?
Yeah.
So
Yes, where are you?
Doesn't
Where you
leave
perched? In
stuff.
Atzilus, where are you perched?
that's it. No, higher than Atzilus. So this that you said before, that I sort of lost the moment there, but there are individuals, but as a matter of real truth, since they're all mushrush in the same etzem, they're not really they're not individuals at all. The individual, the phenomenon of individuality.
Okay, you know what? Well, I don't want to go there.
I'm
Listen,
trying to follow from what Shlomo Yinison is saying.
no, I'm saying, no. Sheminism only asked, is it appropriate then to give each individual name? Yes.
Why is it not okay to go where I want to go?
Because this is not what we're learning. We're
We're
learning
learning.
these kashus
we're learning
atzmis an effort. These kashus, how you mukusha, not how you separate.
Okay, but you mentioned this earlier.
I mentioned in order to explain what we're learning, but not. This is not the focus of our learning. I mentioned evolution. Do I want to go into evolution?
No, I don't want to go into evolution either. I want to understand what it means to be mushrush and atzmus. That's what we're
So
discussing, right?
this was discussed at great length yesterday. Mushish and Atzmus means that you, wherever you are, you represent the truth of Atzmus. Which means you represent something which is an essential, but the essential, again, means the essence of an essence of truth.
And what is the point of the mushal of the air into this discussion?
The motion of the air is to show that this physical world actually represents a divine presence, a divine principle, as it is physical.
I thought that what you wanted to explain today, which is, you said, difficult, is how can two things actually not be, I don't know how you expressed it, they can at the same time be two separate things and one thing.
That's right. That's right. So this is here the same motion, the breathing phenomenon. We are two separate things from the world. We have to breathe in and so forth. But the world itself is embracing us and making us take the air in. We're not taking the air from the world. The world is pushing itself into our nostrils.
So what are the two things there?
The two things is the nostrils and the air around it.
And the real truth of the nostrils is the air around it.
The real truth is that the divine will is that there should be the air around it going into nostrils. That the air around it should go into an individual level, on the world
But
level.
the divine truth is both of these things.
The divine intent is that there should be a worldly creation.
In a real creation that can bear witness to this, sort of
That's right.
be self-conscious or conscious of this strange occurrence.
Right. This is where our thinking nowadays, science is, whatever it is, we're confused. Because we can take the phenomenon of breathing and replicate it artificially, replicate it through what was called through machines.
Well, right, biological life is one thing, but the purpose of life is out of their hands.
That's right. I'm not saying that they can usurp the whole thing,
Exactly.
but this is one thing that they arguing. See, it's all natural. It's all evolutionary, one way or another.
Well, they're not wrong in saying there's a biological element to it. Forget evolution for a moment, but the whole biological process.
There's a
is
biological
present at work.
element, but the biological element is supported. It's provided by a super morality thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a phenomenal thing. It's a phenomenal thing.
I think what's more phenomenal is that not only do you have the biological and the supernatural, you also have the sort of conscious human being who's going to witness this whole.
That's an neshama in that, because the neshama is a godly element.
Uh-huh.
This is where we're up to. This is what I'll be staying at this line all the time, because I'd like to bring out, we should recognize the phenomenal Indian what a neshama is, to the extent possible. But just what the Rebbe does tell us, it is incumbent on us to focus in and to understand what the Rebbe is trying to tell us.
Yeah, at the outset of the shir, it was said, it's mushrash, they're two, but they're one, but you can identify two.
That's right. We discussed yesterday, or the day before, the principle of shoirish, with all the objections and so forth. All right, let us try now to go forward.
So before we go forward, what is it that we're just to summarize?
That's what I said. Let's try. So I failed trying.
That's right. Listen, you're gonna be sorry that I'm on the phone here now.
Yeah, I'm sorry I got you on the phone. You know why? Because I want you in
you
front of me.
What?
I'm sorry that you're on the phone because I want you in front of me.
I understand that. Okay. I'm sorry also.
All right.
But nevertheless, you said, let's go forward now that we have understood this, or whatever you just said. So what is it that we're supposed to have understood in order to be able to go forward? Could you just summarize that? Just so it's clear in our mind before we move on to the next words.
That there is in the neshama, in the aspect of neshama, there is something that is even superior to the fact that the neshama has a source which tells it what it sees. That the mazel tells the neshama what it's observing at its level. There is a deeper inyan in the neshama than that. And that deeper inyan in the neshama is that it has an essence, and it is connected. It is an essence. It is divine essence, and it's united with the essence of Atzmos. Because they're rooted here. We had the from root yesterday and the day before, and the root is and this is the principle whence it comes from. This is the way that conceptualize the whole phenomenon of the root.
Thank you.
Let's start inside. Maybe we'll be able to put this, go further. The bottom line on page Kuf Nun Hey. The parenthesis. But Tzorich Leimar, we have to say, the AYIN Zeh. Now this thing that we said that there is the mazel sheneshama that is able to see, that sees the truth of Avos Havaya. And as a result of that, it cannot be separate from Malkus. And it has a munah. This is still not the principle. Ina is kashus atmos and shomer atmos insur. It still does not capture the principle that of the kashus atmos, the essence element of the neshama, how it is bound with the lakus. What is the essence element of the neshama bound with the lakus? Shezehu, which is Mipnei, due to the fact shemushroshim be'atzmos. It is due to the fact that they are mushu, that they are rooted in Atzilus. And we started yesterday, and a few days, I don't remember when we started, rooted in Shat that the whole concept was conceptualized in the Atzilus. It's mushush. Mushush means that it is representative of the Atzilus. It was conceptualized by Atzilus. So even though we have this tremendous thing of Mazda Chosi, still this is not the principle of Hiskashas Etzman Nefesh or the Mushlish. Ach Lamato, however, he below, Harei Zebo Bebchinas Emuna. This whole phenomenon, the Neshama Aware of Elokus, comes, it expresses itself, it's manifest, Bebchinas Emuna in Emuna aspect. It's explained elsewhere. The Teikev Ha'amuna Pshuto, Shebin Shomesh Yisrael, that the power, the insistence that comes from Emuna Pshuto. Emuna Pshuto means simple Emuna. Emuna Pshuto means the principle. Of course, there is no other way. There's no other possibility, no other thought. It's a pashtus. It's Emuna Pshuto. I have Emuna, but I don't even know that I have Emuna as a principle. It's a pashtus. I have only that which there is to be had. There's no other thing to be had. It is due to the fact that that the mazel of the neshama, mazel means the source of the neshama, sees. What does he see? Where he sees the truth of this.